Okay, so if you've been following my blogs, you'll know that I'm going to have a go at making a PCB. And basically the place I'm going to try it is down here where we need another backplane. So the backplanes we've already got, if you've been following my blog again, you'll know that I've been making them out of these ribbon cables. So effectively I've got a socket at each point, it goes right through the board to the front, and the ribbon cable joins the board together. Now actually I've been finding this a little bit fragile and it's not been working so well, so actually trying a PCB for this might be a good workaround. So this video is all about making that PCB and giving it a try, and if this works then my theory is I'll try this on all the cards. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so the first place we need to start then is the artwork that we're going to actually use to produce the PCB, and you can see a quick plug for my website here. If you look at the last post, A Change of Approach, I go through here about how and why I'm doing this PCB and why I'm taking this approach, but right at the very bottom I've actually got the files on there for producing the PCB. So if you want these, feel free to go on the blog and have a look at them in a bit more detail. So there's the actual PCB layout itself there, there's the screen print layer, the size of the board, and finally then basically the solder mask, which would allow you to use that. I don't think I'm going to be using this, but we'll see as it goes on. So this is just downloadable in PDF format. So if I open up the PDF here, you can see then if you zoom in, see all the solder pads. And basically what this is it's a bus just for each of the, so there's 3 buses here, just for each of the different types of bus. So we've got the data control bus, the control Y bus, and the address bus. And all it's doing is bringing in the connections on the left-hand side and just connecting it through to each of the cards. So effectively each of these vertical positions is where a card will go. So it's actually quite a straightforward design. Hopefully it should be a good test to see whether I can produce PCBs or not before we move on to something more complicated like one of the register cards, which is ultimately what I'm hoping to do here. A couple of things is this circular hole here. This is basically where we'll drill a hole, and that's where the mounting post will go to fix the card to the computer. What else can we say here? So at the top we've got the power rails. So this one at the top is the positive 12 volt power rail. We've then got the grounds one next, and that basically offers a bit of a ground plane all round, which is quite common in this sort of thing. You'll notice it's all in reverse, which is exactly what we wanted, so it's mirrored. And the idea then is when we print this out and transfer it onto the board, it should then appear the right way around, so that's good. No doubt, even though I've said that, I'll probably still get it wrong, but that's just one of the things that happens sometimes when you're doing PCBs. Anyway. So the next thing now is to print this onto paper so I can transfer it. Now there's a bit more to that because this is first of all going to use a laser printer, which I've had to go out and buy, and that's good because it uses toner and we can transfer the toner from the paper onto the PCB, and that'll act as a bit of an etch resist, so that's great. There's loads of different ways of doing this, just grabbed on the internet, but I'm going to use the one of using glossy magazine paper. In fact, I'm going to be using an IKEA catalogue of all things, so that'll be good. Right, okay, well let's get on with it then. So first thing I'll do as well is I need to just chop the PCB in half because it's a bit too big, so we'll go to do that next. I'm going to do a lot of flitting around here, so I'm sat in the living room at the moment. I'm going to be moving between all various rooms in the house, so the video might jump around a little bit, but anyway, let's get on with it. Okay, so it's board cutting time. Right, let's get myself ready. Super. Okay, so the boards I've been using before are these ones. So these are the pad boards, or I think they're called matrix boards as well. So the idea with these is you can just solder the pieces in and then have a wire link between them or join the pads together. So these have been really good for experimenting with so far. But as I said in my video, in my blog, it takes so long to make these cards, and with the registers they're all the same, and it's getting very boring. So in theory, if I make a PCB, it'll save me a load of time. So that's the boards I've been using so far. Annoyingly, I've still got another 4 of them left, and probably won't be using them again if this works out fine, but that's the way things go. So this is the PCB I ordered. Now ideally I would have found one the same size as these, but actually it turns out the size I'm using, well the size that these came in, isn't a standard size for these boards. These generally come in 100 by something else, can't remember what it was. But what I could do is this is, I don't know, let me get a ruler actually. Right, so this is 160. And you can get these in 160 width quite easily, and then in just over, what was it, 234. So it should work out that actually I can do these side by side. So if I have one board there, and then if I cut this in half, I get another board there. So that should work quite well. Now the chances are I'm going to mess this up. Talk about not having faith in yourself, but if it goes wrong, I might well need both parts of these if it takes 2 attempts. I got this off of Amazon. So this is a F4 board, I think it is. It's basically a fiberglass, so it tends to be the better quality one. You can get a phenolic resin board or something, which I don't think is quite as good. Either way, this is the one I'm going to go for. So what I need to do is chop this in half. So I'm going to make you sit there, watch while I cut this in half. If this is getting really boring, I think what I'll probably do is speed the video up, but I'll go for this instead. I don't know if you like this new format of video. I'm going to try and do it where I'm talking while I'm doing it rather than doing all the editing afterwards, because again, it just takes a lot of time. It's a bit of a pain. Right, I need to remember how to divide numbers in half. So we're doing 230. Of course, that's... Right, so I'm not quite sure. I forgot how to add up there. That yeah, it's been a long day. Let's blame that. Right, so what I'm trying to do then is it needs to measure 116.5, and then I can make the cut. So 116.5 is about there. Do the same at this side. Actually, better do it from the same side. 116.5. And a line straight down the middle should be where I need to cut. Now, cutting these boards, I've not made a PCB for a very, very long time. Did it when I was much younger, and I'm, let's just say, a lot older now. It can be a pain cutting these boards, and from what I understand is if you do cut these boards, the dust that comes off them is not nice, and you shouldn't be breathing it in. So what I'm just going to do is just transfer that mark to the other side. I've heard apparently you can just cut these with a Stanley knife if you score them. And then just transfer that score mark through. I don't think I'll be able to mark this side of the board. Yeah, I'll just be careful. Apparently, blunt knives, it'll blunt everything. It's just fiberglass is terrible. In fact, later on, when we come to drilling, you even have to get special drill bits to deal with this stuff because it'll just blunt everything else. Unfortunately, the drill bits that you do need for this break very easily as well. So yeah, you're damned on both sides. Luckily for Christmas, I got a knife, which is quite nice. Obviously people know what I like. Totally unused yet, so that blade should be nice and sharp. So hopefully this will cut through this board quite nicely. Or it'll cut from my fingers. Either way, you will we'll soon find out. Right, before, obviously, measure twice, cut once. That should give me a board there. Slightly wider, but we can work with that. And a board there, which again is slightly wider. So this is going to be slightly wider, but actually in the computer it doesn't actually matter. Right, okay. Right, let's line up there and there. Right, get ready to cringe as my fingers plop off my hand. So I won't put the blade. I would say I won't put the blade too far out, but that's what's going to happen. Right, okay. So I'll do a score. Nice and steady. Now the board will fall in half, or the ruler will. What I'm going to do then is score the other side, and hopefully it should just snap in half, which we'll see. I'm going to go down it 3 times. Okay, we'll stop there. Right, so that looks relatively well scored. Not sure if that's deep enough. Alright, let's try. Oh, actually, kind of see on this side where it's scored through the copper, so that should be alright. So let's try scoring on this side. And this might be interesting because this surface is really slippy. So I think the line is there. And there. If I get this wrong, we're going to end up with a very jagged board. I might have to go back to just using a jigsaw or something, but I'd like to do this cleanly because this is just a back room in the house. I don't really want to fill it with bits of whatever this stuff's made out of. Sorry, I can't think and do a knife at the same time. Okay, there we go. Now really I need a block to lean this against so I can sort of chop it that way. So let me just find something that I can split it over, just try and get a clean line, and then we'll see what happens. Right, righty-ho. So I found a piece of wood that we just had lying around, which is typical of this place actually. We do seem to be doing a lot of work on the house at the moment, so there's always bits of wood hanging around. So it isn't good for the camera, but I'm going to do it this way round. Turn it that way or the other way. I think we have to sand it down either way, so I'm going to do it this side. I've no idea what's going to happen here. Oh no, I think it's going to need a bit more of a cut, I think. Yeah, I'm going to score that a bit deeper. This may just not work. In fact, if it doesn't work, I'm very tempted just to delete the video and you'll never know this happened. But no, I couldn't do that to you. Right, okay, let's do another cut. I'm going to go quiet now because I'm going to want to fast forward this bit. Right, okay, so nice bit of copper swarf there, which I'll find in my feet later. Right, see if that does the job. I really have no idea what I'm doing at the moment, so we are making it up as we go along. I think I'm going to have to score that a lot deeper. I'm being careful actually because I don't want it just to, what I'd hate to do is just to suddenly blow up in bits or end up in shards, and then I'm going to have to wait then to order another piece of board, so I'm going to be a bit careful with this. Obviously once I've done a few of these I can just fly these out. It'd be nice actually if I could get these in the right size in the first place, but I've looked everywhere. I think it's chances I might find something on eBay. Oh, sorry, I'm racking the camera as well. May just cut to the results thing. Yeah, that's quite deep. I'm going to do it this way. Quite strong. Oh, it's stronger than I am anyway, which is not saying much. Yeah, do you know, I'm not sure about that. It's about building up suspense. Right, I'm going to give it one more go with the knife. I'm just going to cut it from this side as well again. And then I think I'll try something else. To be fair, it is blunting this knife quite nicely, so it is true what they say about this stuff. It does not cut well. Feels like it's going to go. Oh, I can hear something. It sounds like it's delaminating now. Just going to see a middle-aged man now, busily scrapping with a block of wood. This. There we go, that's a lovely scent. Actually, that's surprising, that's coming out all right actually. Oh yeah. Yeah, actually that's not too bad. He says extremely surprised. Must be, I've not had a practice run at this, so you literally are going through the same pain I'm going through, you lucky people. Yeah, that's not bad actually, that's not bad. So the ones that will go in the computer may need the holes drilling in the corners, but this one doesn't. This one actually has the holes drilled in the middle of the board here, so we'll do that all later. Now what I do need to do is I should give it a little sand around the edge of this, although it is looking pretty flat. And the reason why is that when I put the paper transfer on, I don't want to lift up at the edges. To be fair, the artwork doesn't go too near the edge, so it should be all right. But hell, you know, for the sake of doing a bit of sanding, right, which piece shall we use, A or B? They both look the same. Right, we'll use A. Ooh, that's got quite a lip on it actually. Tell you what, I've changed my mind. So I'm going to use 180 because it was just the first stuff that I had to bend. There's probably people here who have done this sort of stuff before, looking in horror at the way I'm doing things, but you know, this is what it's all about. It's all about experimentation. So I can read so much up on the internet, but a lot of it's just, in fact, this entire computer's really been made just from me just trying things out and just experimenting, which is kind of is, well, for me, a nice way to go about it. See how that's looking. Looking okay, I think. Bit rough on the sides. Probably gonna have loads of splinters in my finger now, but you know, you suffer pain for your art, I guess. Yeah, I think that's okay. I think that's ready to go. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll print the artwork out, and you know, I think I might even wash my hands, and we'll see if we can get this transferred. Cool. Probably going to do about another hour tonight, so if it goes on too long, I think what I might do is post this in 2 videos, but we'll see. So I'm going to be doing this all night. Okay, right, let's move on. Right, okay, so I'm now on the living room floor, which arguably some would say is where I belong. So we're going to try and print this out now. So I've got some paper here, some regular copy paper, which will be fine. And apparently the way this works is the toner it's almost like a plastic, and what it does, it melts it onto the paper with a sort of a roller in a very high temperature and fuses it onto the paper. So the theory of what we're going to do here is use this trusty IKEA kitchen catalogue, and this is a sort of like a glossy paper, and it really is something that's quite unique to these sort of catalogues. It's you can just, when you feel it, you just know it's going to be the right thing for the job. And this is the one I used to make a prototype a while ago, and that came out okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to print onto this. Now the problem is the laser printer doesn't stand a chance of holding on to this. So what I actually need to do is cut a section of this out, stick it to the paper where I'm pretty sure where the image is going to come out, and then just hope it doesn't destroy the laser printer. So this is probably one you wouldn't want to try at home. But let's go with it. I guess the hardest thing now is just deciding which page to use. So many beautiful kitchens in here, who knows what to choose from. I guess what I'm looking for is a page that hasn't got too much black text on it, which might be quite difficult. What I did find when I did a trial before is where the black text is, it sort of leaves an impression on the PCB. Now it's only a cosmetic thing, so it doesn't really matter that much. Also, if I can find a page that hasn't got too much on as well, it will help me look at the design, because one thing I haven't checked is that the design is actually dimensionally correct. So what I need to do is, once I've got this and print it onto the paper, I need to actually check that, you know, all the pins of the components will actually line up, because if it doesn't, this is the place to stop. And it's quite nice about all this as well, because you can stop at various points, or you can have another go. You know, if it's not working out right, it's only really once you start etching when you're kind of committed. You know, I'm going to end up just reading this book otherwise, so I'm going to just need to find a page now. I think this one over here will do, actually. It's trouble I end up buying a kitchen at this rate. Yeah, I'm going to use this page here, I think. I think I can get a decent section out of this. So what I basically need to do is cut this out, stick it to the page in such a way that the printer's not going to chew it up, or it's not going to destroy the printer. I didn't want a laser printer, I've just bought it just purely for doing this. So the expenses are going through the roof. Right, anyway, let's print this. So hopefully it's found my printer, which is saying it can't see it at the moment, but oh no, there we go, it's found it. So what I need to do now is try and work out where this is actually going to come out, and I think it goes in that direction. So if I stick my piece of paper down this corner here, it should get it right. Now I only want to choose a selected page, so I only want page 1. If you were doing this normally, you would probably be able to tell the printer to use as much toner as possible, because the more toner, the blacker the image, and that's what you want. You want it to resist the etch. So what I want to do is increase the amount of ink it uses. For some reason, I can't do that on the default Mac print program, so I'm just going to go with it. Last time I did it, it had enough ink on it anyway, so I had enough toner on it anyway, so I think it's fine. Right, okay. Just make sure you're still recording. Yes, you are. So I'm going to cut this out in the place where I think it's going to appear. So it looks like it should be down here. Should fit within this sort of size. What I need to do is I need to think about taping this down as well. So I want to probably put a bit of tape down here and over here as well. So I'm going to fold this in half. at least you're getting to witness this unfolding as I'm witnessing it as well. So if this all goes wrong, you get to see it all go wrong. Which is a treat if you like that sort of thing. Enjoy a bit of Schadenfreude if it all goes wrong. Right, I'm going to go for this piece here. When I did the other one, I did take a few attempts to get it in the right place, so it's entirely possible this will go wrong. Right, let me put that down there. So I think it's going to appear about there-ish. Now I've got my board here, so I can actually check, because it should come out the same size as the board, so we kind of reckon it's going to come out around there. I think that's probably about right. What I normally find is it comes out in the complete opposite place to where I thought. It's that sort of thing where you've got to think about how it goes in the printer, where it comes out and all those sort of things. So, right, so I'm using some masking tape here. And I'm going to make sure that I present the printer with a flat edge. And the reason why is what I don't want to happen is that this tape starts attaching to the drum, because the drum in a laser printer is the one thing that's just, if you get tape stuck on that, you basically ruin the drum, and then it's time for a new toner cartridge, which, as anybody who's bought a toner cartridge knows, they're not cheap. So I'm just going to do a little bit more down the side. I don't need to take the bottom down really, because that should be held in at the top. So if you just think about which way the paper's going in and how it goes around, that should give us a good idea. Now the risk is that it ends up printing where the tape is, so yeah, that wouldn't be very good. Do I take the last bit down? Yeah, I think I will. Just going to do a little sliver of tape and take that down, so I need this nice and flat. There we go. I think that will do it. So I'm going to put that in. I'm going to press print, and I'm going to recoil in horror. Talk amongst yourselves. This might take a short moment. Yes, funny enough, it came in the exact opposite place to where I thought, so yeah, there you go, just goes to show. So I need to do this again, but I'll put it up in the top corner. Needless to say, actually, that doesn't look too bad. I don't know where you can see on the camera. Yeah, it looks all right. So I just need to put the paper in the right place. So bear with me a second, I'm just going to pause the video, I'll stick all the tape down, and then I'll play it printing the correct way around. Right, it's me again. Okay, so I've, just the same as before, I've got a piece of paper down here, I've cut the other half of the glossy magazine paper and stuck it on where this time I think the image is going to come out, Mark II. Now a good thing about this now is actually I can actually, now I've already wasted some toner, toner isn't cheap, I can actually just line it up against it, just see if it's going to come out in the right place. So I can see left to right it's going to come out in the right place. If I look top to bottom, it looks like it's going to come out in the right place. It's avoiding the tape. I think this time we're good to go. And just make sure. This is where you've got to start remembering now. So yes, I put the original one in that way with it on the bottom right. What I need to do is put it up in the bottom, or in the top left rather. Right, so let's put that in again. And we'll go for another print. Now what tends to happen now is it forgets on my print settings. So I just want to do the selected page. I think that's ready to go. Right, let's go for it. Boom, 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 boom. I don't know if you can see that, a nice little bit of smoke just came up. It's interesting actually, I've seen that happen before. I think it's fine. I mean, that fuser does run at a very high temperature. In fact, a long time ago I used to repair printers, and I probably should know what temperature fuses are, but you guys got the internet, you can find out. Right, let's go for it. Turn it over. Perfect. It is all on the board, all on the piece of paper rather, so that's what you end up with. And the theory should be, if I can find out where I put my PCB, that should also fit within those lines, which it actually does appear to do. So it looks like we might be dimensionally correct. Really now the question is, when I did the design, did I get that right? It looks about right, but the only way to find out is to start comparing some components to it. The lines look to have come out okay. They are quite thin, which is probably by design, but I do worry that I'll end up etching them away, so there could be a problem there, but it looks okay. All right, let's go back up into the back room again, and let's just do some dimensional checks, just see if that's looking okay.